Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live, the programme for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about automating your sales and marketing by using customer relationship management technology. You may know it as CRM. Now, my guest on today's show is James White. He's the owner and the CEO of InTouch CRM. James, lovely to have you with us.
Hi Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Great to have you on the show. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a long time. We had Matt on the show, I think, around about, well, it must be nearly 18 months ago, in fact, on one of the very early shows where he Skyped in from a very dark room.
Yeah, he's back in the cave, yeah. So.
Yes, but it's good. You're the guy. It's your business. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty for those people that don't know what this is all about. CRM, Customer Relationship Manager, or even management. What does that mean, and why should businesses find that of importance to them?
Okay, well, I mean, I think it's to me, it's the basis of most businesses, really. It's I define customer relationship. It's your customers, who they are, what their names and their details, their contact information, the most precious bits of information about them. Your relationship with them. Are you on good terms with them? Are you on bad terms with them? Are you doing as much business with them as you'd like or not? And basically, how you manage that and how you put that into a way in which you can manage it so that you make your business look effective. And that's all it is in its simplest form. Obviously, there's lots of other things to it as well.
But what you've done is that you've taken what is, I suppose, day-to-day politeness and taking care of a customer, super serving them. You've taken that and you've given it a bit of a technology edge to it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, what we've got with InTouch, and there's other systems out there that will enable businesses to actually manage that information more effectively, and also help them do more. Help them close more business, help them save time by actually being able to communicate more effectively or remind themselves how to do things, because we all get forgetful in these days, especially as I get older. I know I do. So yeah, it's just about helping businesses do the basics really well, and I think that's the good thing that a good CRM system should do is do the basics well.
You're not out there on your own. There are a few other big systems that are out there, and there are also things called autoresponders out there as well. Can we just clarify before we go any further what the difference between a CRM system is and an autoresponding system is, or are they both the same, or is one a bit of the other? I mean, what's the big difference between the two? Well,
I guess in the past they were probably different, and I guess in the past the CRM system was traditionally this sort of system that would be lots of data and information and names and addresses, and would maybe be used for sort of reminders and prompts and follow-up, and then you'd have maybe a communication system that would sort of do your communications, and an autoresponder is something that will communicate on your behalf automatically, and we'll talk about that. So
let's get this clear. So in other words, if I collect a customer's name, what's going to happen is that if I put that into an autoresponder, it'll send a response plus a whole series of responses afterwards.
Correct, yes. So someone can come to your website, for example, and they can put in the information to say they're interested in appearing on the show with you, for example, and they could automatically then be sent an email back that's programmed by you or defined by you, and then a series of other emails over a period of time to make them aware of you guys and what you do, for example, in BCL and what you guys offer. So that can happen automatically.
Touching the customer on a regular basis.
It is. It's about interacting and reminding the customer that you exist on an ongoing basis. Yeah, and automate. There were some systems in the past that could just do that only, and there were some systems that could do just a CRM. And I guess our slant on it was actually it's great to bring them both together in one and have them in one place, and that's what we've tried to do over the last few years, is build a business that can help small businesses do that in one place.
So InTouch CRM is the name of the business. Yeah. You've been around for how long?
Nearly 10 years now. So we celebrated our 10th birthday this year. We didn't have a big celebration. We probably should have done actually, but we've been around for 10 years. So which has been great and a really interesting journey as a business owner for me as well. So.
And what about you? Are you Are you a geek? Are you techie? Is it all about the software, or do you come from, or is it all about the fact that you've been in business and you've seen that this is the kind of tools that management needs?
Definitely the latter. I think if my team, if my technical director ever said to me, "You wanted to write a line of code," I'd be in a lot of trouble. No, I couldn't write a line of code. I'm not a technical. Some businesses like this have had technical people that have written the code to start off with. I never had those skills. I'm a sales and marketing guy, if you like, by background. I was a marketing director of an IT firm, and in corporate life, earning six-figure salary, and just decided I didn't want to do it anymore, and I wanted to go and set something up that. I know all the grey hairs have come from that as well.
Interesting. So I'll just give up this easy life and I'll go out to work.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go out and try and earn myself a living. But no, that was the dream behind it. It was to go and I saw some great small businesses doing some great things. I thought, well, why? And actually, when I started it, the CRM and these sort of systems were very much used by large organisations only. And I thought, well, actually, there's a load of great small businesses that could use this effectively. So I thought, well, let's go and try and build something. And brought a couple of guys on board. One of which is still with me, Kieran, our technical director, who's responsible for all of our technical systems, to go and build something. And we set about building something. And yeah, we're a British, it's all built in the UK here.
Because I did ask you that. I said, where is the software written? And it's not been bought in. It's not from the Philippines or anywhere like that.
This is all British made. Yeah,
which is fantastic. If you had to describe the system then that's currently out there, now we are going to be, obviously we're going to be looking at autoresponders, and we're going to be looking at customer relationship management. We're going to be looking in a general way.
Yeah.
But if you had to describe InTouch CRM, how would you describe that as a system, and who do you think it's suitable for? Who's the target audience?
So I think a target audience tends to be certainly smaller businesses that are growing, that understand that they've got growing plans, that maybe a service-based focus service. We have a lot of service businesses that use us that want to get a bit cleverer with the way in which they're doing their sales and marketing, I think is probably the way I describe it. So they've maybe understood that this is something they need to do more of, or they've got pressures on their time and they actually want the systems to work for them. And it's there to enable them to drive that plan, let them to drive that plan for growth. They've got a business number they want to hit over the course. We're coming into 2016, and everyone's got business plans for wanting to target. And they say, well, I don't want to be where I am now. I want to grow. And actually, we can help them then through using the system in a clever way, achieve that growth, and market themselves and grow their brand more professionally, and enabling them to sort of build their own business dreams, as I had business dreams for myself with InTouch, really.
When they look at the system, what do you think is going through their mind's eye? Are they looking at something that's going to take away some of the grind, some of the slog of what they're doing on a regular basis? Or do they come to you expecting it to be a bit of a miracle worker, where simply by having a CRM system, all of a sudden, I'm going to see an increase in sales? What's their expectations, do you think? And do you fulfill their expectations?
Well, we try to at all stages, try to make sure we do that. I mean, I think it's... I say to lots of businesses, we're here to try and help, and we try and with our, we provide a lot of content and resources and materials to help small businesses grow, and we'll provide as much help and support as we can. I think in any case, in any business, if the core product isn't very good, or if they don't know where that product is actually servicing or being focused, then ultimately they'll face a challenge. But if they've got some of those basics right, and they've got a good product and a good identity, then we can help them actually become more efficient with their time and help them drive more sales, yeah, for sure.
Now, when you look at InTouch CRM and some of the other large CRM systems, it's integration of a number of things, isn't it? What are the key integrations that are happening within a basic CRM system? What are you looking at?
Well, from our perspective, we certainly say the basic information is about recording the names and details and contact information of people that you've got. It's then about the ability to store and record potential business with them. So with current customers, you might do repeat business, or with new customers, you want to record those potential opportunities. And there's a lot of businesses that are very good on the first and second follow-up when they get a new opportunity. Someone says, here's a new lead, and they're great at doing the first call, but they don't then do maybe the third and the fourth and the fifth call. And so it's those elements. It's then also including what we would call the basics of good email marketing. So being able to reach out to a group of 100, 200, whatever those customers are, and tell them about your product or your service, or engage with them in a conversation about actually what they need or what they want. And what we try and do is, and what most systems will do, is try and put all that together in one place, because the idea being is if you've got one record of your customer, and that's what CRM always was, if you've got one record of your customer in one place, then actually it's a great place to be. And I always say to people, if you went to your bank and your bank didn't know when you last took money out of the wall or when you last spoke to one of them, you wouldn't probably bank with them very long.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, maybe some banks would work that way, but that's that's the way I sort. If you keep that record and that record of a conversation of history with your customers, you can build better relationships with them. You can work with them more effectively and hopefully do more business with them as well.
What about? I was saying to you before we started. I mean, we use your product actually. And
that's good to know.
And the most worrying thing about this, of course, we're all bombarded these days by spam, and we're bombarded by automated emails that are coming into our mailboxes on a regular basis. And my biggest concern always is the integrity of the database.
Yeah.
Is that the right perception to be having? Is that the right place to be starting? That it's the quality of your database that makes something like this really fly?
Definitely. I mean, I would, the challenge with a lot of small businesses is people, they get people talking to them on a regular basis about buying data as well. And we understand that, everyone thinks there's a different way to achieve things in certain respects. But we always think build rather than buy. If you can build a database over a period of time of customers you've worked with and then engage with those people or those to drive repeat business, you've got a much better chance. Data for us is obviously really important, and our customers have their own databases on InTouch and access them only, and it works really well for them. But to me, it's as a business owner, if your customer data is the most precious thing you've got. Surely, if you haven't got customers, you don't want to look after that information. Then what are you in business for? So we sort of go back to that basic and say, well, actually, it's pretty important for you to know who those customers are, when they've purchased with you, when they've last engaged with you, and more importantly, what do they want from you next? How can you do more business with them, or maybe stop them from leaving you, or just make sure that you're keeping them happy and working with you? Because we all know that good, happy customers makes for good continued business success.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to go through the system here. Now, this is going to be similar to a number of CRM systems that are out there. Maybe you've been thinking to yourself, I'd like to have some form of CRM system in my business. Well, that's what we're going to be looking at today. I think you're going to be quite impressed actually by what we've got here. InTouch CRM does bring a number of things that small businesses need. We, as a small business, we found it very useful when it comes to the likes of just managing our customers and autoresponders and the like. That's still to come on this edition of Business Connections Live. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is James White. He's the owner and CEO of InTouch CRM. We are going to be going through all the different screens, all the different features, all the different functions that the program has, and it should be a really interesting insight into what InTouch CRM can do for your business, regardless of the size, regardless of the scale. And I suppose a question that I should really ask you later on again, but I probably will in fact, is there an optimum size of a customer base that businesses need? Is it better to have a customer base of 10 great customers as opposed to an ad hoc, anybody's on it list of 1,000 people?
People always, we've gone through this life, quantity is obviously seen better than quality, but I always think in the quality rather than the quantity basis. I think you've got a group of 100 customers that you can engage with well and know well, then most definitely that's going to be a value. But that said, there is also a time and place where if you've got a large amount of people and you can reach out, especially if you're doing new business, then having a large list can help. But it's generally about what you send and the quality rather than the quantity.
So there you go. It's quality, not quantity. It's from the horse's mouth himself. You're watching Business Connections Live. Let's look back at what we did on last week's program. We were all talking about, it's all about customers, it's all about sales, and it was putting you in a slightly different mindset when it comes to what you should be doing when you're going out there and you're selling. We've had a number of different programs, we've had a number of different sales coaches come in who have talked about the whole process of how you generate, how you get new customers, how the cornerstone of any business is going to be the number of sales that you have, the amount of money that's coming in. No money coming in, no sales coming in, and actually you don't have a business, you probably just got more of a hobby. And the young lady we had with us last week was Lee Ashton. She's the author of a great book called I Sell. If you get an opportunity, do get the book. It's a cracking book. She's also a speaker, trainer, and also a coach as well. And she's a co-founder of Sasudi.com. We talked about the changing way that you think about sales. If you've missed the program, here's an opportunity to get a bit of an insight into what happened on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. Now, on today's show, we're going to be taking the fear and dread out of sales for small businesses and helping you to generate sales by changing the way that you think. Our guest on today's show is Lee Ashton. She's the author of I Sell. She's a speaker, trainer and coach, and also the co-founder of Sasudi.com.
The old adage of hate picking up the phone is as much a fear for the corporate salesperson as it is for the small business owners. Well, I guess what I do is I get them to look at it from a different perspective. So I don't exactly give them a process. What I do is I share the way that they could change. Then they kind of think, oh, you know, I haven't thought about it like that before. And then suddenly they start to feel more comfortable and at ease. One of the things I say is stop selling and just be yourself, be really interested in helping the other person. The more natural you are, the more rapport you get. The more rapport you get, the easier it is actually to elicit what that other person really wants, and then it's easier to get the same. I'm Lee Ashton, an author, speaker, trainer and coach, and I help people sell more effectively. I help them to change the way that they think so that they feel a different engagement with sales. So if you are struggling with sales in any way, if you find sales challenging, if you never seem to get it right, the first place is to start is up here. I'm guessing that you probably know lots of the things that you should or could be doing and are just not doing them, and it's just about stepping outside your comfort zone. So the takeaways today really is to focus on the way that you feel about something and change that feeling to something more positive by changing the trigger thought that you think about it. I want you to know that you have to just take a few small steps outside your comfort zone in order to make a change, because if you carry on doing what you're doing and it's not working, nothing is going to change, no matter how brilliantly you get at what you're doing. And so when you think about taking that small step outside your comfort zone, that can be very scary. And a lot of people refer to that area outside your comfort zone as your terror zone. Well, actually, I'm going to let you into a secret. In between the comfort zone and the terror zone is a place called the learning zone. And in that zone, you are allowed to make as many mistakes as you like. You can get it wrong, you can fall over and scuff your knees and it won't matter, because this is the place where you learn to do stuff. You learn to perfect it in a way that's right for you. You learn to develop your tools and techniques in a way that works perfectly for your personality. So step into that learning zone and practice so that you can make it so work for you. And remember, you haven't got to be anyone else but yourself. There's something that I say to all the people that come on my trainings or read my books. It's about being more of who you are. Never compare yourself to others, only to the you of yesterday. So if you have moved just a fraction closer to your goals each and every day, you're going in the right direction. And if there's anything that you need to support you, then find what it is. It might just be a buddy, it might be regular personal development. Do something every day. Be more of you.
Great show. If you do get an opportunity, do watch it. Fantastic lady, Lee Ashton. Do check the programme out. It's last week's edition of Business Connections Live. And of course, you can go to our website, businessconnectionslive.com. You can go there and you can always send us an email if you've got any questions or anything like that to studio@businessconnectionslive.com. Hey, if you want to give us a telephone call, we'll talk to you too. Here's our telephone number. We're on a roll now, 01784 256 777. And you can follow what we're all up to as well, and what our guests are doing too, by simply following us on Twitter. And it's BCL Business TV is our Twitter handle. You can follow our tweets as well. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is James Might. He's the owner and CEO of InTouch CRM, Customer Relationship Management. What's that all about then, and why do you need it in your business? You need it because you want to communicate with your customers. The thing is, a lot of people, when they think about all of this, they do think purely about email, don't they? They think it's about capturing names on websites. They think about a series of emails that are going to go out. And they think about sell, 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 sell. Does it work for people that are more traditional, where they're taking calls on telephones? I mean, does it work that? Talk us through what we've got. Talk us through InTouch CRM. Let's have a look at your system.
Yeah, have a look at it. But definitely, I think it works on the basis of, I mean, for me, the system is a facilitator to a lot of those things. So actually, I'd say to people, if someone comes into your shop, if someone comes into your office, if they phone you up, if you go to networking, if you go to a meeting and take a business card, it's a case of, you've met someone, you think, oh, it could be quite useful as an opportunity. They've indicated that they want my service or that they might need my product. It's then a case of, and I say to people, when you meet someone for the first time and you get a business card, what do you do with that business card? Do you actually...
A lot of people just put it in their pocket or put it
in a desk and it gathers dust, and then suddenly they look, oh, he's the guy I met, X amount of years ago. Or you can actually say, well, do you know what? And one of the things that I do, for example, I'll meet people at an event and I will actually then, I'll say if I've had a good conversation with them, I'll go back, I'll have a bit of a discipline to add that person into the system, but then I'll link them into an automated campaign where it then sends them an email maybe half hour later that says, by the way, great to meet you, by the way, do you want to connect on LinkedIn or on Twitter, for example? And then it can follow up a number of processes from there. But yeah, it can work. It's not just about email, it's about all forms of what I would call sales interaction can be done through a CRM. Now,
I would imagine all CRMs are going to, because we're going to be talking about InTouch CRM today. We're going to show you the dashboard of that. But I would imagine that all CRM systems will all have some form of a dashboard, which is where you go to, which is going to be your base. So let's have a look at your one that we've got here today.
I mean, as I say, the system itself is there to give people access. Obviously, the homepage will show people all the key tasks or reminders. The good thing about when people get first login is being prompted to do things. That's what good CRM systems will do. So most people are aware, and I'm sure you're aware, Steve, that most leads, I don't know if you're aware, 80% of business is not closed on the first and the second interaction, it's closed on the 5th to the 12th. So actually, how do you remind yourself to continue to, when you've had that new opportunity to follow up? Well, set yourself a task, set yourself a reminder. And what the system is very good at doing is being able to store that record of a person and then set those reminders in place over a period of time, so you can hopefully close that potential into a reality.
So this is like a to-do list then that is sitting, but is interacting with your customer database.
Exactly. It's a to-do. You've got a customer, a guy you've met, and actually that guy has said to you, let's say someone has rung up and said, I've got a potential new opportunity with you. And what it's then doing, it's a case of recording that information on the person, maybe the name, their address, going to their individual record, checking what conversations you've had last time with them, and then being able to set yourself a reminder to follow up with them to go and do that, or to maybe record that potential bit of business. Because we've all been there as business owners. We've sat at the end of the month and gone, hey, well, I had upsec here. Why hasn't the numbers gone quite as I wanted it to? And it's probably because we're so busy getting caught up in the day-to-day things that we forget that the guy that rung in the morning, or the guy that gave us the bit of paper, or the person that sent an email from the website, we actually didn't maybe do the follow-up on those things. We did it first time around, but we didn't do it second and third time.
So is the thing to do, is it to step back for a moment and actually run your business from your CRM system? Because a lot of people will try to be running the CRM system over here, their emails over here, and maybe something else over here. Is it really a case of bringing it all together into one?
I always say to people, if you've got conversations that you want to remember, difficult, obviously every email you send, there might be a thanks at the end of an email. Maybe that's not as relevant. But if you've got conversations that you want to remember, and unless you're, and I'm certainly not, as I'm getting older, I'm past 40 this year, Steve, so certainly my memory's going. But actually, I want to be in a position whereby if I talk to someone, I remember that conversation. Now, if we're all very talented and can remember that, great. But actually, I need to have prompts and reminders. So when I look at someone's record, I can say, that's right. I spoke to that guy 2 weeks ago. He mentioned that he was going on holiday, and therefore, can I contact him when he's back from holiday? So the beautiful thing about it is, if I go back into the CRM, I can search on their record. I can have a look and say, yeah, he was on holiday. The first interaction I can have with that person then is, how was the holiday? Did you have a great time?
So let's have a look. This is the screen. This is the contact screen.
For example.
Now, a lot of lot of people are going to be worried about a screen like this, aren't they? Is this going to take up more of their time? Are they going to lose their time? Or is this what business is all about? Get it in here, get it organised, and ultimately, once the system is flowing, it will save you time.
Yeah, so I would actually say in a case, obviously there's a setup process to go through in any business activity, but certainly from our perspective, we would see that the system, once it's set up, will save you huge amounts of time. It will enable you to remind yourself to do certain tasks, and obviously this is the demo account that we've actually got here, but you'll see a different set of tasks that I can actually complete with that individual client. So for example, you've got my record here. I can then start to record, for example, to say I wanted to add a record of a conversation I've had with someone. So I can then start to record the details of that conversation, the meeting, and when it took place, and where that's then actually stored in the system. So if I scroll down, I can then see the last set of information that's been actually done, or the last history with that customer. I can then also then start to see when they've opened some of my email campaigns or their marketing. Yeah, so there's a huge amount of value in keeping all that together in one. And they always say knowledge is power. The power is certainly used with the consumer now, or the buyer nowadays. But I go back to that point I said, if you speak to someone and or if someone spoke to you and you didn't know when you last spoke to them, or you couldn't remember anything about them, or you couldn't remember their details that were key to that person, and we all know that sales and relationships are based upon relationships, then you probably think, well, do they really care about me? What a good CRM system will do is store that information for you and record it.
Does it fall down because it's the discipline of the individual? And if they can get that discipline in their system, if they can get that discipline in their life, then they really do have a valuable tool.
Definitely. And I would say, trust me, I'm looking at my, if I look down at my own belly sometimes and I wonder why I haven't got my discipline, as we all know, is key. But the more that I've learned in business, the most successful business people have disciplines and good habits that they use on a daily basis. And actually, if you've got those good habits and you practice them on a regular basis, you can be more effective in business. And I would agree that if you're as a business and you want it all to be completely easy, then actually it's not going to work. There are some things you're going to need to do, but actually, if you get those done and they form part of what you do as a business to move to move yourself forward, then it becomes part of the pleasure actually of actually knowing someone. And I take great pleasure now in our accounts. When I've met someone, we'll store some information as to how I've met them, what their key interests are, what their needs are, what the things. I take great interest in recalling that, because actually, to me, what's the point in having a conversation with someone if you're not interested about them as a person or what they?
Because a lot of people do just look at it as a name and an address, don't they? Name and address, and maybe a prospect in the future.
They do, but actually, email marketing is one of those areas where a lot of people talk, oh, is it dying away? It's not dying away at all. I mean, email marketing is still one of the most valuable ways in which you can drive return on investment. But mass market emailing is dying away. And what we talk to people about is about being quite specific. So, for example, if I
this should feel like it's coming from you personally.
Be coming from you personally, but also be relevant to them. So if you can be relevant to someone, then actually you've got more chance of actually then doing more business with them. So, to give you an example, I stayed at a hotel at the weekend, and the hotel asked me for my email address. They also asked me for, which is fine, and I said, that's great. I had a great experience at the hotel. I was happy to give that. If they send me, however, details on that hotel every single week, I'm going to unsubscribe. Why? Because I'm not in that area. I travel there with my wife, and I'm not going to be something I'm going to go to all the time. However, if they took, for example, the clever thing of saying, tell us your special occasion, maybe a wedding anniversary or a birthday, and then maybe 1 month before gave me a reason to come back there with an offer linked to a special, because they knew me, they had some information about me, I'm more likely to go back to them because it's relevant to me, because actually it's not going to be something I'm going to go to every day. And what people maybe are in the habit of doing at the moment is they send stuff out all the time without necessarily being quite targeted and quite specific. And we would encourage people to be very much more relevant.
So understand who your customers are. It gives you an opportunity to understand them a little bit more. And then, as they say, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got them there then, but I've got that already in my email list. I can do all that in Outlook nearly, can't I? I can put information in there. I can't do, well, I can put in the diaries, I can do to-dos. What can I do with the information once I've got it there, though? Is it, because it isn't just a receptacle, is it?
It isn't, and obviously there are systems that you can use that are based upon Outlook as well, and it depends on how you work. But as most businesses, they tend to grow and they have more and more people that join the company, and then more and more people want to share that information. But also where we've got to, you can't generally do what we call campaign emails out from your Outlook. So, for example, if you were going to send out an email to, let's say, 100 of your customers, sending that from your own Outlook would actually be a really bad thing to do, because unfortunately internet providers would then, especially we've seen customers that have sent out attachments to their customers thinking they're doing the right thing, but what the ISPs then do is they see them as a spammer or as someone that's trying to send something malicious out.
So there is an absolute warning there then. If you are doing that, by the way, at the moment, and you are using maybe your standard mail server or your mail client, and you are sending out large database kind of based mail outs, be very cautious.
Yeah, and I also had, I had someone send it to me the other week. You've probably seen this before, where they've sent an email out from their email campaign, and I was one email address alongside 400 or 500 others. So basically, they're actually breaking the Data Protection Act in that case there, and it's not particularly.
This is sometimes where people, if they're going to do it, they put them in the CC or the blind copy.
But then someone forgets to do it, and so what they've done is they've sent an email out, and there's 500 people in the to list, and it just looks embarrassing for them, and it's one of those things I sort of cringe at.
It also gives their database to somebody else.
Well, exactly, but not just that, but it's the whole reason why. It's because actually, I as a business, or I as a customer, if I'm given my email address or contact or vital information for you, the minimum thing I'm going to want you to do is to look after it. Because if you don't want to look after it, we've all seen recently with some of the major brands in the UK how when someone's data is actually stolen or taken, or used externally, people get very annoyed about that, and rightly so. So the biggest onus on you as a business, I think, or anyone as a business, is to, if your customers are going to give you some information about them, their contact numbers, their mobile numbers, their email addresses, to look after that. Store it somewhere where you can use it. The reason I say CRMs are also a great way to use is, we say to a lot of people, where if you had one place where you could go to that all of your information would be stored, that would be a great starting point.
And the nice thing, of course, is because it's in the cloud, and I'm sure it's secure in the cloud and well encrypted in the cloud and not easily break-inable in the cloud, then they can actually go from they can actually be doing work from anywhere, from any PC, from any laptop.
Correct, they can. For example, I can access the account with a username and password, and obviously security is a key thing for us as well, but I can access that information from anywhere, whether I'm on holiday, whether I'm, as business owners generally do, people like to take a weekend away. Well, actually, if you're going to finish off the weekend and maybe do some work at the airport before you go, you can log in, you can send your campaigns, you can update your records, you can do all of those things wherever you are, for sure. But,
what we're going to do, we're also going to go through the whole process then of setting up a campaign like that, where you've got multiple emails that go out. We'll explain to you as well the reasons why a system like InTouch CRM is going to be perfect for your business, for the simple reason that you're not sending it from your Outlook client, you're sending it for something that is designed specifically that will hopefully protect you as well, because if you get refusals or bounces or things like that, it will take some of those emails off and you won't be sending to them again. All to come on this edition of Business Connections Live. I'll tell you about absolutely engaging, and I think that's the whole wonder. I'm already beginning to think that I don't think an hour is going to be long enough, because we've barely scratched the surface and we're halfway through the programme. We're going to be looking at, just a few moments' time, we're going to be looking at the way you can actually create and build a campaign that you're going to be sending out. Also, some of the ways that you can look at your prospects, how you can put them in, you can see your prospects develop and to grow across your database, how you can see a customer go from introduction all the way through to being a fully fledged client that you've actually got. By the way, if you are finding the programme absolutely engaging today, just imagine if you were sending out maybe something that's an email, but it contains some video in it. Or maybe you're sending out newsletters. Traditionally, that's what a lot of CRM systems are used for, to send out a newsletter. But how engaging is your newsletter? What are you trying to do with it? Are you trying to capture and engage your audience, thinking that perhaps maybe if you capture and engage them, they will come to your website and then maybe do something? Or are you just sending out for the sake of it? Are you sending out a newsletter that has of no interest? Are you one of these companies that sends out a newsletter that says, we have 50 vans, we have 400 people working for us, and this week we've just built a new building? Do you know, as a customer, I really don't care. What I'm looking for is, do you sell the widgets that I'm looking for? Will you make my life a little easier? If you want to engage your audience, maybe you should be thinking about using video in your marketing campaigns. It's a good idea, isn't it? A video newsletter. We call it Your Brand TV. Still sending out conventional newsletters to customers?
Do you just want a more engaging way to talk to your customers and employees?
Hello, I'm Steve Hyland.
And I'm Linda Bazant of Business Connections Live.
Your Brand TV is a completely branded television show that can be streamed live or delivered on demand to your niche audience. Be the first in your market to capitalise on the online media gold rush that is using online video to effectively deliver news, information and education to key personnel and clients.
Video attracts 2 to 3 times as many monthly visitors. It doubles their time spent on your site and has a 150% increase in organic traffic from search engines. Large networking organisations are already utilising the power of Your Brand TV to market, promote and publicise to their members and groups across the UK.
Your programme will be branded with your corporate colours and logos in your own broadcast quality network studio.
You can choose the format. It can be news or magazine or interview in its look and feel.
You can have live guests on your show or you can Skype them in.
You can stream the show live or on demand, so it's available for catch-up.
This is a chance to deliver your message in a new exciting format that will allow your business to cut through the noise and stand out from the crowd and engage your workforce and customers. This is Your Brand TV.
To get more information on this fabulous opportunity to bring to life your corporate communications, contact us today at Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.
It's a great idea, actually, Your Brand TV, if you're thinking about engaging your audience in a more professional way. Let's face it, video, it's a great way forward, and I think we've moved on with video. Personal opinion, personal view. If you are still doing straightforward talking head videos like this one. Hello, my name's George. I've got a great company. I want to tell you all about it. If you're doing videos like that, you are missing a trick. One of the things that I've learned very soon when I was in my TV career, simple turns, simple reframing when you're doing your call to action can actually increase the responsiveness of the video that you're producing. Instead of just producing it or presenting it straight down the lens like this, take a turn. We'll try something out now. My director is all of it. So we'll go on the wide shot. We'll have a wide shot. Here you go. So if I sell you a whole idea, listen, if you want to get a fantastic customer relationship manager, you really need to be contacting and talking to InTouch CRM. At that point, you look straight down this and you say, if you want more details, then contact us here, InTouch CRM now. The difference is in that cut. That cut is a change in the way you're perceived, and that call to action will be even stronger. Try it on your videos, honestly. Record a bit, stop the camera, reframe the shot, take it again. Great idea. If you want the experts to do it for you, though, you can come and talk to us here at Business Connections Live. Here's the contact details. You can email us at studio@businessconnectionslive.com. I'll wait. Thank you. And if you want to give us a call, you can call us here on the telephone on 01784 256 777. Or if you wish, you can follow us on Twitter as well at BCL Business TV. I'm making Gordon work very hard today in the control room. You're watching Business Connections Live. Our guest on today's show is James White. He's the owner and CEO of InTouch CRM. InTouch CRM, Customer Relationship Management. You've probably heard about CRM in the past. InTouch, UK-based business, been going for around about 10 years when it comes to helping you generate, or maybe to look after your customers. This is going to be the system that you're going to need. We were going to talk a little bit about automated campaigns and also how we see the records and the history of what is happening with our sales. You've got automated campaigns sitting on the screen. Explain that to me before we look at it. What is an automated campaign?
So automated is actually an area where we're focusing really heavily actually in InTouch, and we've sort of changed a lot of the, we see it as actually a huge growth area for so many businesses in the future. So what it is really is there are lots of processes that most businesses and owners go through in their day-to-day lives that they do on a repetitive basis, or there are things that happen, but then the other elements behind it don't happen. And what we try and do is we say, right, well actually, let's see if we can actually plan out what that process is and how do I want it to work at its best effect. And once I've done that, if I put it in a place in what I call a campaign, whenever that new thing then happens, I can then follow that process all the way through. Now, why is that better? Because we all know that actually the best way to be able to do things is to not have a haphazard way of doing it, but have a consistent. Why do McDonald's do so well? Because a burger is the same in whether you like McDonald's or not. And Michael Gerber in his E-Myth.
Obviously, you do.
Well, thank you, Steve. As you know, you're quite right to be in saying that. But you know, the whole idea that Michael Gerber talked about in his E-Myth book was actually, you know, a burger is the same in Ashford as it is the same in Ashington. And the point being is they follow a process to deliver a consistent customer experience.
But I would imagine that the process at the very beginning, they didn't go, right, we're going to make burgers and they're going to be burgers right across the land and we'll just, there you go, it's done.
No.
It probably took months and months of research and work to create the ideal burger. And is that kind of what people...
No, it isn't. I mean, it's a case of maybe the other way of describing it. So if I was to say to someone's a new follow-up, how would you want to be engaged with as a new business? For example, one of my biggest pet hates is I'll look for a service or I'll search online for something, and we all know 80% of search is done on Google. If you haven't got a Google online web presence, you're done for. And I'll go to a website and I'll complete a contact us form on a query form on a website, and then I hear nothing. So automatically, as a business owner, for a start, I was interested in your product, I liked the look of your website, I liked what you did, and then I specifically said to you, I'm interested, and nothing happened. To me, that is the most frustrating thing ever as a business owner. But also, I've gone from being a brand potentially interested in that company to being someone that says, do you know what, if that's how you're going to respond to me when I potentially offer you business, how are you going to be like if I have a problem with a support issue or after that? So to me, that's a classic example whereby an automated process to take a new lead from a potential...
Put value in what the customer or the potential customer is doing. Put value on that piece of data that's coming in.
Definitely. Well, and also, you know, again, if someone's actually said to you, I'm interested in your product, you're either a very successful business that doesn't need business, in which case, great, good on you, but you know, you maybe sell up and go to the Bahamas. But if you're not in the business to actually make new business happen, then actually, you know, it's just frustrating to the customer. You'd rather say, sorry, we're busy at the moment, we can't take new clients. I'd have more respect for that customer if they actually put on their website, sorry, we're really busy at the moment and we can't take that. It's worse if they enable me to provide information. They've got now details on who I am and where I'm from and my email address and such like, and they don't even follow up with me. So it's about automating some of those follow-ups to be able to say, actually, when that email comes in, I'm going to send an email back to someone that says, thanks very much for your interest, and by the way, here's a bit more about us as a company. And then maybe create a task for me or my colleagues or someone else to follow up with that customer, maybe the next day, but maybe 3 days afterwards, to check that they've had the information that they wanted to. That's good business practice. And that's what an automated campaign.
I suppose what I meant when I was saying about the research, I meant was that they didn't come up with the burger on day one and then implement it. They had to do a bit of work behind. And the thing is that once that work is done behind and you've set up that system, there's your investment in time, isn't it?
Exactly. And you're quite right. And you're right. They had to, they had to perfect what the burger and the bun and all that sort of stuff looked like. But once it was done, they could then roll it out lots and lots of times. And that's the same with automation in a way. Is that actually, and many would say that some of the burgers you can get from certain fast food vendors are a bit automated. But the point being is that it's driven and it's built in a certain way. And what that does give, however, is a customer experience that people are consistent with. People know what a burger tastes like from a big vendor like McDonald's, whether they go to a branch wherever in the country. And what we're saying for a lot of small businesses is have consistency in the way in which you deal with new lead inquiries, or have consistency with the way in which you, for example, when someone becomes a customer, how do you welcome into your family of customers? Have consistency in that approach, and automation.
Well, let's look at how easy it is to set this up first of all, and also how we can have, because I think we also are now we're beginning to see a lot of emails that come in that are quite nice. They look nice and they're nicely formatted. And there's a question actually there. Do the ones that are formatted, are they more effective than the ones that are just basic and plain?
Actually, it's a bit of both, actually, if I'm honest with you. You can be a bit... it depends on the nature of the message, and automation, you can be quite, if it looks like a formatted email, then sometimes that doesn't give the impression it's come from an individual. So sometimes there may be times when you need to be a bit more individual in the message.
Because a lot of the internet marketeers now, what they're doing, they're very plain emails, aren't they?
They are. And actually, those sort of emails certainly have a time and place, and they can work. I always generally say, if you're doing an email newsletter to your customers and it's targeted and relevant, then actually showing images and showing some pictures of your business is a good thing, because actually sometimes people do like to see that. But on the other hand, it's also about the message. It goes back to what I said at the start. It's about the message and is it relevant. If you're going to send me something that's completely no relevance to me, that actually I'm not interested in, the chances are I'm either going to delete it, or worse come, I'll unsubscribe. And actually, that's the bit that as business owners you want to avoid, because it's only going to harm your brand.
We're teasing you now, aren't we? Because you really want to see this, don't you? It is very straightforward to actually do. Let's look at the screen here. This is automated campaigns.
So what I've got here is a campaign, for example, as an example, called a new lead follow-up. So let's just say someone rings into your business business and they actually say, well, okay, I'm interested in offering a service for you. So what they're going to do, for example, is we've set it up so that, and this is it could be changed at any stage here, that whereby after 10 minutes, an SMS may not be the right case here, but this particular campaign has got that. It will send them an SMS to say, thanks very much, we appreciate the chance to talk to you. 2 hours after, for example, we're going to send them an email, and that email is going to look pretty simple. It's going to, there you go, it's an example of a very standard email that can be sent out that looks decent. But then after that, one day after that, it's going to create a task for one of the team, maybe it's another person accessing the system or myself or whoever, to basically follow up on that opportunity. And then maybe 6 days after that, I'm going to create another task to follow up. So remember what I said before, that actually most 80% of business is done on the 5th to the 12th engagement. Invariably, people don't always, when you have a new lead, deal with it and make the business there and then. You sometimes have to follow up and chase again. So for example, in this case here, you can set up what we call an automated campaign to run on a new lead inquiry. So if someone now rings in, I could automatically add them into this campaign, and suddenly these 4 actions will now take place for that customer over the course of the next few days.
So therefore driving you forward, so you've now got a bit of structure to your business, haven't you?
Exactly, you've got some structure, and also if you've got salespeople or business people that work for you, or maybe you hire some consultants or some telesales people that work for you, what you can then do is go and find out whether they've done those tasks, and if they haven't, like we all do in management, we then have to go and try and work out with those guys as to why they're not doing what we want them to do. But yeah.
Is there an optimum, do you think, for the number of messages that you're sending out, or is it, depending on your business, depending on what you're all
business.
about?
I mean, we've got customers in our, that have got a very long sales cycle, Steve. So they've got people that, let's say the investment or the customer is looking to make a purchase that is, for example, let's say a quite extensive purchase, maybe a few £1,000s. It may well be that in that case there, you need to, that customer isn't going to get an email from you and say, yes, I want to buy straight away. Maybe they need to just be warmed up to you guys. They maybe need to warmed up to the level of quality that you offer, or maybe warmed up to the level of service that you provide, or maybe send a video link, maybe a good idea to a customer.
Great idea.
There you go. But you can send a video link to a testimonial whereby someone can actually see how good your product is. And then what you're doing is over a period of time, you're convincing that potential customer that you guys as a business have got the attributes that maybe they need to work.
Familiarity, isn't it?
Familiarity. And then the fourth option may well then be, can we now give you a quote? Can we now provide a testimony, a proposal for you, depending on how your business works. So, some businesses, if you've got a very, very short sales cycle, so someone comes in and buys your product within minutes, maybe this isn't going to work for you. But if you might, like most businesses, and you take a bit of time, maybe a couple of weeks or even a couple of months, or in some cases, again, with some of our customers, a couple of years even to go from start to finish, automation can make a massive difference in your business.
And let's be clear about where the input, I suppose it's the top of our sales funnel, isn't it, at the very top? The input can actually be, you could be using it on a daily basis while you're sitting there at your desk, and you could be inputting the data directly into a screen. Do you just design the leads where you put the data in, the kind of information you're collecting? Yeah, we do. So obviously the system is done. But let's just say, for example, I've had a new lead inquiry. So let's say someone's come through and given us a call into the business and they said, I'm interested in potentially buying your product. What do most businesses do, Steve? And you know the answer for this. We're all busy. It gets written down on a piece of paper somewhere. And actually, we all don't. I still do that. I have times when I don't sometimes go straight into the system, but I write on a post-it and I have the discipline then to make sure I record that in a system like InTouch. There are others out there, as we know. But the most important thing is to record it. So let's just say that new lead comes in. I can record, new lead activity. I can indicate my probability. So probability is it's a gut feel. Has the guy on the phone said, I'm really, really keen to use you, in which case I might say it's a 75% or 80%, or has he said, I'm just looking at the moment, in which case it might be 20, 25%. So in this case here, he might have said 25. He might have depended on the product or service that you sell. So for example, in our case, InTouch, we sell InTouch at £29 a month, but it could well be if it's in the case of someone selling, as I say, some of the companies that we work with that sell sheds and big sort of outside home extensions, that could be thousands, for example. Right. You can record where you've had that opportunity from. The idea being is if you don't know where your marketing is, so you can see where your spend is. Exactly, see what's working for you in that basis. In this case here, it was an advert. I can indicate when that business is going to happen. So the customer said to me, I'm going to hopefully make a decision on this in the next week or two. And by the way, if you don't know when that is going to be the case, then I suggest as part of the sales approach with that customer, you find out, because it's not a lead unless it's got that sort of defined timescale. And what I can then do is I can then be in a position where I can put that into the system itself. I can assign it to an individual, and I can assign it to a contact. So let's just say in this case here, I'm going to assign it to me. There you go. I found my record in here. And what I can even do, if I wanted to,
I can then even add a follow-up task to be able to remind myself to phone that person or to do something at a certain point in time.
And you can also do exactly the same thing very quickly to actually capture those names and that information from your website as well.
You can do exactly that. You can take, InTouch will give you the ability to capture all that information from a website on a form straight into the system straight away.
I don't know about you, I'm already sold on it. Want to find out more? We're going to tell you more in just a few moments' time. It really is a real insight, maybe automating your system to get those sales in and then to respond to them. Are you still writing on bits of paper? Maybe those days are long gone. You're watching Business Connections Live. And my guest on today's show is James White. He's the owner and CEO of InTouch CRM. That is fascinating. And I think a lot of people don't realise that when they think of autoresponders, when they think about systems like this, that they are thinking to a certain extent that it is just about capturing names from websites.
It is, and actually, it's not just about your website. It's also about capturing people to ring in. It's about, as I say, the bits of paper you get. It's about any potential business you've got. As business owners, you can't afford to be in a position where you let any opportunity go, especially if you're new or you're starting up. And actually, it's about having those good disciplines to record that. The good thing is then, once I've recorded it, it's on a bit of paper, I've recorded it. Even if I then go away for a week, because I've been busy, I'm doing other things, I'm travelling, at least I can come back at a certain point, like, yeah, that was that lead opportunity. I remember, I haven't got back to that guy because the task is still outstanding. Or actually, I didn't do something I should have done. It's not looking great. I'll make sure I follow up and say, sorry, apologies about that. So it gives your business a real professionalism in the way you look.
I really like that. What's the next part we're going to be looking at after the lead and sales pipeline?
Well, what we're going to then try and do is the ability to send a campaign email, for example, out to someone and actually be in a position where you can then see who's opened your emails, maybe be in a position where you can actually then automate some of the activity behind that as well.
All right, we'll do that in just a few moments' time. By the way, if you are sending emails out, you do want to put some content into them as well. I mentioned already about video, and also I mentioned about the program. Do tell people, if you are watching this at the moment on YouTube, thank you very much indeed, live on YouTube, that's where we stream the program at the moment. You can watch any of the programs that are sitting on our YouTube channel, but more importantly, please do come to the website at businessconnectionslive.com. We'd like to have your company there. We've got a really fascinating little giveaway where, after your name and your email address as well. And we had Dan Spicer in from Hootsuite, and we give you a bit of an insight into how Hootsuite can actually work in your business too. It's a great tool, Hootsuite, if you want to automate maybe some of your social media. You can do some of that as well, can't you?
We can, yeah, sure.
You're tying it. It's getting closer and closer, isn't it?
Well, the Hootsuite are brilliant at what they do. They're great at doing the social media front. If social media is a key part of your CRM and marketing activity, then we can help with that as well. But social media is becoming a little bit specific in some areas, although it depends on what works for you as a business. Okay.
Well, if you want to find out more about how to use Hootsuite in your social media campaigns, go to businessconnectionslive.com, sign up, become part of the Business Connections Live networking community, and we'll get you a little video that Dan produced especially for you that you can actually watch. And why should you be watching Business Connections Live? Well, Warren Knight came on the show a couple of weeks back, and this is what he said.
Hi, I'm Warren Knight, and I've just been on Business Connections Live for the last hour. I've had the most amazing time. Steve's been fantastic. He's been talking me through the whole process around how I can help companies become socially savvy and sharing that information. I can highly recommend it to any entrepreneur or business owner that wants to get a better understanding of how to help grow their business. So thank you so much, Steve, and the team. Thank you.
A little bit of social proof there, thank you. A little bit of social proof for you there from Warren Knight. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is James White. He's the owner and CEO of InTouch CRM. So then, we're going to be looking here at automated campaigns a little bit more in depth. Where are we going to kick off on this one?
Yeah, so what we've basically looked at here is, in the case of, we're talking about creating an automated campaign whereby, let's just say, for example, someone's come through to the website. Or let's just say I've had a new lead inquiry. And what I might want to then do is send them an email to say, thanks very much for getting in contact with us, and then being in a position to respond to them. So what we'll do is we'll create an email campaign, and we make it quite simple to be able to do this. At InTouch, you create a campaign name to, I'll do it as an outline here. Subject lines are really important, actually, and we talk to people a lot about subject subject lines and actually capturing people's attention. It is really important that you capture people's attention within what you send out, but also not try and trick them as well, because one of the things that a lot of people try and do is they'll try and trick someone into opening something and then be in a position.
Would you like $1,000 for free?
Exactly. You get those sort of things, and actually, if it looks too good to be true, but I'm not really interested in that. But yes, be creative, but also try things. Marketing, I always love the idea that people try different things in marketing. Try it, look and see what works for you, and be in a position where you can then amend it afterwards from there. So once you've actually indicated the subject line that you want to send, what you can then do within the system is actually then send maybe a past email that you've sent, or you can pick one of the templates that we've got, and we've got a number of different templates.
Now this is really impressive. Now we were saying, which ones work the most effectively? Is it ones with pictures?
Well, is
it ones without pictures, or is it horses for courses?
It does depend, I guess, and goes back to this element of the planning. So you've got, we've got some different templates in the system whereby we have literally right at the bottom here, there you go, some very plain, simple templates that work quite effectively. You can use those type of templates and put your logo and brand on there, or you can actually send out more, if you like, glamorous ones.
Are they easy to edit?
Yeah, definitely, very much. The system itself enables you to literally go into, let's just say if I wanted to go and pick this template here, I can pick a template, I can then go into the system itself, and I can, anytime, and our system works in this way, I can literally just go in and edit my organisation. So for example, I can, I don't want to just do that, nothing wrong with turning off the button, that'll ruin the system. So for example here, I can then just let's put business connections, if I can spell, that'd be useful as well, wouldn't it? So that's the problem.
We like short URLs here and short names.
Exactly. So if I want, for example, I can save that as Business Connections Live, and what it will then do is it will save it straight in the system. I can upload a new image into the system. If I want to go and add an image, I can replace the image that's in place. Right. And then once I've actually got that email, I can also then personalise that. So for example, I can indicate that can go to the individual customer. For example, in this case here, I could indicate dear first name. So if I've stored their name, dear Steve, dear James, it's a personal way in which to engage with that customer. And again, if I've stored other information about them, such as where I met them or a bit more about them, then I can start to include that in my marketing.
So you can create personalised emails, and you just, would every email be different, do you think, a different look, or do you, from your experience, is an element of consistency good across your entire campaign?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a consistency in brand. So for example, if you want to promote your brand, and we all talk about how brands are the most valuable things people have, if you've got a brand that you're proud of, then actually make that a consistent thing that goes in your email. But also maybe use different things for different activities. It's all about that planning process. So know exactly, and we all know as well ourselves as business people, if you don't do a plan, whether it's your plan for the week or your plan for the month or your plan for whatever you want to do, then the chances are you're not going to get the success you want. So a bit of planning, a bit of outline of what you want to achieve with that email. What is it you want them to do? I see so many people send out emails and actually there's no call to action. So if you actually just want the user to look at it and go, yes, so what? They'll look at it and go, so what? Actually, if you want them to do something, to click something, maybe to click through to view a testimonial, to view an example, a price list, a brochure, whatever, ask them to do that. Give them a reason to do that.
Now, we're touching, we're running out of time, but we're touching here on an element that's very important, because this will record what links the person who opens the email. First of all, it records whether the email's opened or not.
Correct, it will.
It records whether there's a bounce back, so if the email's not right. So you've got a whole raft of analytics that are coming back about what's actually happened to your email when it's arrived or didn't arrive.
That's correct, yes. For example, let's just say, for example, in this case here, Business Connections Live, I'm going to type in, again, let's put that in place. My hands are... Let's go. I've typed in Business Connections Live, for example, and I've got I'm going to make that as a link. If I put that as a link into the system, what you can then do is you can then actually basically identify that they've actually clicked on that link, and let's say that's gone to a price list or something else you've done. You can then maybe automate a task from one of your salespeople to follow up on that. So it may well be that if someone shows a real interest in your email campaign, then why not follow that up with a task, to call them or to speak to them.
Am I right in thinking that what you can do is, say we had internet email campaign A, which was about all the products.
Yep.
And then within that, I had links to products A, B, and C.
Yep.
And if they click on link A, I can then put them into another campaign that's just about A.
Correct, that's exactly it.
So it can be very specific. I can hone in on what they're interested in automatically.
You can. So let's, the example I say to salespeople, when you're doing business with them, sometimes it's like a baseball match. Very rarely it's you get the home run. Sometimes you have to go to base 1, base 2, base 3 and base 4 before you get a point in the baseball term. And actually that's exactly the case. So if someone clicks on it link and maybe they've shown interest in you, what you can then do is send them something that's relevant based upon what they've clicked on, or you can identify that and then you might send them a different series of messages, because maybe the fact that they've clicked on, let's say they've clicked on an area that was about your quality as a business or about your support, you can then send them a series of emails about, for example, how you focus on support and what you do to make sure support is top of your agenda. So yeah, you can really focus on the things that the customer is interested in by using automation in a clever way.
And that really is just scratching the surface with this, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the time, obviously, in terms of today to go through that, but one of the things that we try and do is provide help to all of our customers. That's, again, from a UK perspective, we're there at the end of the phone to talk to people and talk through some of these ideas, and it goes back to that business objective. What are they trying to do? What's their plan? What do they want to get achieved from this?
I mean, we really have. Seriously, we've only scratched the surface here, but we've been talking about, they are worth considering right across the board. If you're thinking about how do I make my business more efficient, it's a bit like getting another person in the office effectively who is taking care of your follow-ups to your sales leads and to your sales function. Here you've got something that you can actually plan out, a series of emails that you're going to send out. You're going to touch your customer. Don't make them all sales, a bit of information, follow up, make your customer feel that they're being warmed and caressed, and then put calls to action in there. You can do all of that, and you can make it specific. If a customer clicks on the link about a particular product, then you can then say, right, that's what he's interested in. I've now put him into another campaign that's going to give him the specific information that they actually want. Not only is it going to make your customer feel that you actually care about their reaction to your emails, then it's going to save you time as well.
It's going to save you huge amounts of time. And if you've got 100 people, for example, that start in that process, well, actually, isn't it interesting to focus on the 20 that have clicked on those areas and focus on them rather than necessarily the 80 that haven't? And that's what automation can also do, is really focus in on a time-saving aspect.
You can find out more about InTouch CRM by simply going to their website. We'll give you that in just a moment. James, we always ask everybody that comes on the programme to give the business takeaways at the end of the show, the key things that people should remember when it comes to their customer relationship management, what the key mistakes are. We ask our guests to look straight down camera number 1. Let me take this out your way so you've got the free airways. So camera number 1 is yours. Say who you are, where you're from, and the airways, James, are all yours.
Great stuff. Well, I'm James White. I'm as I say, the founder of InTouch CRM. And one of the reasons that I'm here is I'm passionate about small businesses and helping small businesses grow. And I certainly believe that as any small business owner, that you want to be successful, you want to ensure that your business is growing, and whether it's InTouch or any other systems that you use, I think you can get there by using systems effectively to not only save you time, to replicate, to save you having to do tasks and repeat on an ongoing basis, but also to follow up on business, to make those new business opportunities happen by closing more deals. And we get to the stage of closing more opportunities by being able to be in a position to remind ourselves to follow up on an ongoing basis. That's the thing I've learned in my career, that invariably it's that activity and that want to actually achieve something and to continue to follow up that's key. So we'd welcome the chance to talk to you about what we do at InTouch. But again, even if you're looking at using any form of system, I'd certainly say the best businesses that I'm talking to at the moment, the ones that are growing the most fast, most quickly, are using business automation to help them accelerate their growth. And we help with an Automate to Accelerate review, and we'd love to do that with you. So if you're interested in what we can do and how CRM and customer relationship management and business automation can help you grow, take a look at our website at intouchcrm.com, or give me or one of my team a call, and we'd love the chance to talk about your small business and helping you achieve your objectives. So
fantastic. And the thing is, there are so many things that we haven't touched on here. If I just looking at the screen here, if we can just have a quick look at the screen once again, everything from contact management, then you've got the automation, the tasks that you're going to be giving to different people within your team. There's a calendar function, leads and sales, the emails, how you create them. You can use SMS messaging. This is fascinating as well. Want to find out what your customers actually need? Well, why don't you send them out a survey? I mean, what a great way of getting your customers to actually interact with your business. Ask them what they really want, what they really feel about the way business is actually working. So surveys, a great way of engaging your customers. Integrate it with your social media campaigns as well, for that matter. And you've got letters and labels, you've got file management there as well, and also a full suite of reports that will allow you to see exactly what you're doing, where everything is working.
And don't forget, the final thing at the moment is support. So the big thing for us as a business, and that's probably one of our USPs as a company, is support. We're passionate, and it's the big thing that I drive in my company, about making sure we provide the help and support online, on the phone. You can pick up the phone, especially in the UK, to a real person in the UK, and talk to them and talk to one of our guys and test us out on this stuff and test us out on what we know. But we're here to. That's the big thing, I think, is that support. Hopefully, I know you've used it yourself in the past, and it's about having that passion and caring to get things working for you. So.
James, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program today. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you for explaining to us everything that we needed to know about customer relationship management. Absolutely fascinating. And I hope you've enjoyed today's show. And it has been a cracking show. Honestly, that was there's just so much. We could do 2 hours on this, couldn't we?
We could, yeah.
We could do 2 hours. But we actually only had 48 minutes, to be truthful, and we got through a lot there. What we got lined up for you in the next couple of weeks on the program? Well, on next week's show, we've got Steve Bridger. He's the author of the book Transform Your Communication Skills, which features a chapter about us here at Business Connections Live, talking about how you interact with the media, what you should think about when you're being interviewed for TV and radio. All of that. It's all covered in the book. Great read as well. And that's going to be available actually to pre-order on Amazon from the 28th of November. So depending on when you're watching this, if it's post the 28th of November, why don't you go straight to Amazon and buy it right now? In December, we've got Steve the Barman. What is Steve's surname? Do we know? No, the other Steve the Barman. There, let's put the team under pressure now. Steve the Barman advising you on how to entertain your clients in the festive season. We've got Helene Panzerino. She's going to be coming in to talk about her brand new book, Funding Your Business. She's a real expert on this. The book is called Funding Your Business for Dummies. It's going to be published on the 11th of December, and it covers every aspect. But you've been through this, haven't you, the funding? Yeah, we don't. Yeah, did you beg, steal and borrow from family and friends?
I begged, steal and borrow from my own bank account when I started off, and I tell you, I still forget. But yeah, I mean, funding's a key in business to get that next stage of growth. But yeah, we went through a round of funding. It's a tough case.
But it's difficult, isn't it? Because a lot of banks will go, well, actually, you're not really a going concern at the moment, so we're not interested. And then they'll throw you the money when you are a going concern and you're making money.
Yeah, well, exactly that. When we started it, the banks weren't the right option for us. We ended up going, as I say, personally and looking. I incurred a lot of personal debt to get the business where it is. I think that's what you've got to do as a business.
Sleepless nights?
Sorry?
Sleepless nights?
Plenty of sleepless nights, lots of grey hairs, yeah, definitely as a result of it. So, but no, I wouldn't change it for a minute.
Yeah. Right, and on Monday the 21st, that's good. Monday the 21st of December, I know what it's like actually to sleepless nights. Monday the 21st of December, you can join us for our Christmas party in inverted commas. We've got all our favourite guests from the past 100 plus programmes, and actually, the people that will appear on the day, they're not just our favourite guests. All of them are our favourite guests. Got to be so careful, haven't you? And because the ones that will be missing just can't make it. That's the point I'm making. They're going to be with us, and they're going to give you some advice on what you should be considering for 2016. Don't forget, if you'd like to advertise or sponsor the programme, you can do that. Just get in touch with us here at Business Connections Live. And if you are in the Cambridge area, don't forget to watch us on your local TV channel, Cambridge TV, on Freeview Channel 8 or on Virgin Media 159. Tell you what, that wraps it up. My thanks to James once again. Thank you very much indeed for watching us today. I tell you what, why don't we do it all again next Monday? Next Monday it is Steve Bridger on the programme. But from me, Steve Highland, and our guest today, James White from InTouch CRM. Bye for now. Bye-bye.